The tennis world came to a halt when Roger Federer's wife finally spoke out about Alex Eala. This is what no one told you. Mirka Federer is more than just a devoted spouse who watches silently from the stands. She played tennis professionally. She is very aware of what talent looks like. She has been watching tennis at the top level for more than 20 years, so she understands exactly what this sport's future looks like. There was something about Alex Eala that made her pay special attention. This is where things get complex, though. This is when things start to get interesting. There is more to the tale of Mirka Federer and Alex Eala than simply compliments. It has to do with legacy. It's about what occurs at the same academy, on the same courts, under the same sun in Mallorca, Spain, when two worlds, one that dominated tennis for 20 years and the other that is just getting started, collide. You're going to hear something more significant than a compliment, so stay with me. No one was even aware that this generational passing of the torch was taking place. The world has spent years minimizing Mirka Federer to a footnote in Roger Federer's biography, so before we discuss Alex Eala, you need know who Mirka Federer actually is. The woman grinning from the player's box was a devoted wife and mother of 4. However, that image is critically lacking. The narrative of Mirka Federer starts long before she was married to Federer. She was Miroslava Vavrinek, a professional tennis player who competed for Switzerland in the Olympics in Sydney in 2000. She had a competitive mindset. She was sincere. After her career ended due to a foot injury, she dedicated all of her competitive energy to helping the man she had fell in love with during those same games. Take a moment to consider what that means. This woman experienced the same hardships, suffered the same anguish, and competed on the same courts as a professional tennis player. She doesn't watch games in the same manner as a casual fan. She is observing it as a gamer would. She observes the footwork. She observes the shift in weight. She observes a player's mental poise, or lack thereof, prior to a pivotal moment. Roger acknowledges that Mirka has kept him grounded and modest throughout his career. Despite his prominence, her influence made sure he never lost sight of his origins and kept an impartial viewpoint. However, this was what the world overlooked. Mirka was doing more than just controlling Roger's ego. She was quietly becoming into one of the sport's most perceptive talent spotters. Additionally, something changed after Roger resigned in September 2022. Mirka was no longer connected to the path of a single player. She was able to view the sport with new eyes and ask herself, who is coming next? For the first time in 20 years. A 20-year-old Filipino girl practicing at a tennis academy in Mallorca was the solution she was going to find. It turns out that the Federer family was well familiar with this institute. This is where the true connection happens, so hold on. The Federers weren't merely spectators of Alex Eala. Everything is different because they traversed the same path she did. There is more to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain than just tennis instruction. It is a champion factory. It is a place where genius is sharpened, hardened, and made more dangerous. It was also home to Alex Eala. Eala received a scholarship at the Rafa Nadal Academy after winning the renowned Les Poutilles as competition at the age of 12. Her family took the tough choice to send her to Mallorca, Spain, when she was 13 years old. The training there would eventually result in her junior triumph at the 2022 US Open and her breakthrough on the WTA circuit. For 7 years. Inside those walls, Alex Eala lived for 7 years. On those clay courts, she trained. She dined there. Within the academy, she transformed from a young girl into a fighter. In nearly every interview, she gives credit to the academy, stating, "The academy was able to build on that foundation in such a way that I'm able to be where I am now." This is where the Federer connection becomes clear. Roger Federer has been candid and kind about the Rafa Nadal Academy, saying that he and Mirka have sent their kids there for training. Federer expressed his concern that his children would come home as lefties, making a light-hearted reference to Rafael Nadal's well-known left-handed style of play. It wasn't merely a joke, though. It was affection. It was confidence. Federer, his wife Mirka, and their twin children, Mila Rose and Charlene Riva, paid the academy a visit in July 2025. Legendary Swiss figure interacted with young trainees, posing for pictures and signing autographs. This is what caused the tennis community to gasp in silence. Alex Eala has spent 7 years walking the same academy hallways, courts, and clay. Charlene Riva and Mila Rose, Federer's twin children, were spotted posing for an on-court portrait in their tennis gear in the same facility that gave birth to one of the most exciting young stars in women's tennis today. Mirka was present. She observed the surroundings. She was aware of the culture. And if you know anything about Mirka Federer, you can see that she did not stroll those courts feeling nothing because of her profound understanding of the sport and her meticulous observation of talent. This did not happen by accident. There was a confluence here. At the same address, two legacies get together. However, the relationship is much more profound because a member of the Federer inner circle did more than simply stop by the academy. He expressed exactly what Mirka was thinking on national television. The internet was shattered by his remarks. Paul Annacone is not a man who readily gives praise to others. Pete Sampras won 14 Grand Slam championships under his coaching. During one of the most successful times in the Swiss legend's career, he was Roger Federer's coach. When Paul Annacone discusses a tennis player, players pause what they are doing to listen. The tennis community therefore leaned in when he began discussing Alex Eala on Tennis Channel Live. Annacone spoke with clarity and sincere appreciation. A room is illuminated by her smile. She defeated Iga Swiatek last year, and I recall how gracefully and humbly she did it. I admire her game, so I thought it was fantastic to watch her win that match, play afterward, and attempt to keep getting better. Grace, modesty, and advancement. A Federer coach does not use those phrases carelessly. During Roger Federer's ascent, those precise phrases were used to characterize him. And everybody who was paying attention noticed that Annacone, a man who sat courtside with the greatest player of all time, was using the same language about a 20-year-old Filipino girl. Obviously, she wants to improve from where she is now, but she has a lot of good hand-eye coordination and the ability to take the ball early and redirect, Annacone went on. Taking the ball early and rerouting while under duress. These are the best kind of technical praise. That is the vocabulary of a coach who has witnessed greatness firsthand and is identifying its early indicators in a fresh player. This is what everyone has thought, but no one has actually stated. Paul Annacone is not an isolated individual. He converses with Roger. He converses with the Federer group. And Mirka Federer would have heard every word, having spent 2 decades listening to the world's most complex tennis discussions. Eala, who had already defeated elite women like Donna Vekic and Jasmine Paolini in 2026, was getting ready to make her Indian Wells debut as the 31st seed when Annacone praised her. This wasn't speculative compliments about a potential customer. This was acknowledgement of someone who was already performing at the top level. And the internet exploded, especially the Filipino tennis community, which is one of the most fervent sports fan populations worldwide. Because it's more than simply a compliment when Roger Federer's coach affirms your player. It's a coronation. Here's what you haven't heard yet, nevertheless, because Alex Eala's narrative goes much beyond what coaches have said about her. Even the most reserved and shy tennis players are forced to eventually speak up by what she has already accomplished at the age of 20. Remain with me. Let's discuss the real accomplishments of this girl. Because sometimes we fail to simply pause and consider the outcomes in the midst of all the commotion, drama, and celebrity connections. And the outcomes are astounding. Eala was ranked 143rd in the world at the beginning of the 2025 season. Then came the Miami Open, when she entered as a wild card and gave an unforgettable performance. She advanced to the semifinals by defeating 3 Grand Slam winners, Madison Keys, Yelena Ostapenko, and Iga Swiatek. Give that some thought. 3 Grand Slam champions in a row were defeated by a wild card, who was rated 143rd in the world. One of the largest WTA 1000 tournaments on the calendar, held in Miami, is not a little event. The highlight of my career so far, Eala herself said of her Miami run. That's what made me famous. After then, everything made sense. When I think back on that instance, I simply think, wow, that was crazy. And it didn't end there. Eala made history for Filipino tennis when she defeated top 20 player Clara Tauson at the 2025 US Open, winning her first Grand Slam singles match. After defeating Laura Siegemund and Magda Linette, Eala advanced to the Miami Open round of 16 in March 2026 and is presently ranked 29th in the world. And she's doing it while bearing the burden of a whole country. Every time she takes the court, the entire country is behind her. Every Grand Slam main draw appearance, upset, and match strengthens the growing perception back home that Filipinos belong in elite tennis. Eala has been open about the costs associated with this degree of expectation. It has undoubtedly taken a mental toll, but it's also a part of improving as a player, and a more mature person knows how to deal with that. Turning off the tennis mode and filling my cup outside of the tennis is something I believe I've been learning to do. At 20 years old, carrying a country with that level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness, isn't it understandable that a woman like Mirka Federer, who watched the sport for 20 years, played professionally, and knows what it takes to be great, couldn't remain silent? Because those who really understand tennis don't turn away when someone this exceptional turns up. They bend closer. Additionally, leaning in is a statement in the Federer world. This is the point at when the entire conversation took a different turn. Mallorca, Spain, July 2025. The Academy of Rafael Nadal. Alex Eala was raised at the same academy. Mila Rose and Charlene Riva, Roger Federer's twin kids, and his wife Mirka joined him at the academy. The legend from Switzerland interacted with the young trainees, posing for pictures and signing autographs. Imagine this scene now. The sharpest tennis mind in the Federer household, Mirka Federer is a former professional tennis player, the wife of the greatest of all time, a mother of 4, and she walks the same hallways as Alex Eala for 7 years, standing on the same courts where Eala put in 10,000 hours of training to become the player she is. The visit followed the Federer's attendance at Wimbledon, where Roger made an appearance in the royal box. It wasn't just any holiday stop. Mirka was present during the entire deliberate action. Only a few months later, Rafael Nadal made his first court